In One Piece, people tend to focus on the amazing Devil Fruit users, but there are a lot of cool powers non-Devil Fruit users have as well. Sometimes they've even battled each other. Shanks against Kaito is a match that we can only really guess at since we haven't officially seen it yet in the anime, which is a real shame. In One Piece, a Yonko is reserved for the top 4 pirates that are so powerful the world government doesn't even bother pursuing them. They are also the 4 most likely to get One Piece. As of the current arc, the 4 Yonko are Shanks, Big Mom, Kaito, and Blackbeard. Whitebeard used to be one but was killed at the battle at Marineford and was succeeded by Blackbeard. It was actually before this battle at Marineford where Shanks and Kaito met and fought. Kaito was going to intercept Whitebeard on his way to Marineford to kill Whitebeard, but Shanks was there instead to stall him while Whitebeard continued on to save Ace. Now Kaito is known throughout the land as the strongest creature in the world. Creature because of his beastly size, and because he has a legendary Zoan-type fruit that lets him turn into a giant ancient dragon. And Shanks, well, he's just a one-armed guy. No powers, no devil fruit. He's just a guy, and he managed to repel Kaito. Fishmen are an interesting race in the One Piece world. We have yet to see one with a devil fruit, but given their skill and physical prowess, they seem to work well without them. Jinbei, Knight of the Sea, is the newest member of the Straw Hat Pirates and is serving as Luffy's helmsman. Jinbei had his own reputation before meeting Luffy. He was formerly part of the Sun Pirates and under Fisher Tiger. We first met Jinbei in Impel Down when Luffy was trying to free Ace. The two went from allies to friends during that time, and soon after meeting again and helping the Straw Hats in Whole Cake Island, did Jinbei agree to join the Straw Hat Pirates. Jinbei is no pushover either. With a current bounty of 438 million, he is one strong fishman. A true demonstration of his power came when he was forced to confront Big Mom. One of Big Mom's moves is Stay or Life, where she uses her Soul Fruit power to take someone's soul if they even show an ounce of fear in her presence. Jinbei stared down Big Mom with an unflinching look. It was the first time we saw anyone survive Stay or Life. Zorro has been through a lot in his time with the Straw Hats. More than any crew member, honestly. Despite having no Devil Fruit powers, he has taken on Devil Fruit users from Kuma to CP9. It's all in his pursuit to be the best swordsman in the world. Though Zorro's biggest opponent had to be in Dressrosa when he went up against Pika, the squeaky-voiced living mountain man. Pika has the Ishi no Mi fruit, which allows Pika to assimilate into any stone he comes into contact with, be it a road, mountain, or even a whole castle. In the Dressrosa arc, he and Zorro clash multiple times, being that Pika is the 3rd strongest member in Doflamingo's crew. Their fight begins when Pika is sent to destroy the remaining fighters of the tournament, along with the Straw Hat Pirates. Pika starts to indiscriminately harm innocent people along with his targets. This pisses Zorro off to such an extent that he enters the fight and goes all out against Pika. Even when Pika assimilates into a large stone version of himself, Zorro cuts through the mountain-sized Pika with his ultimate technique, the Trichiliacosm. This attack cuts Mountain Pika with ease. One of the themes in One Piece is the passing of generations, when the mantle will be passed down from the old generation to the new. Many times, we've seen the power of the old guard. One of the powerful figures that is still alive from the older generations is Silver's Dark King Rayleigh, Gold D. Rogers' first mate. Now, Rayleigh is retired and lives in the Sabaody Archipelago, where the Straw Hats run into them. It is in the Sabaody Archipelago where Kuma the Tyrant had separated the Straw Hats before the time skip and where they meet 2 years later to resume their journey and find One Piece. During their visit, however, they are met by one of the 3 Navy Admirals, Kizaru. User of the Light fruit, the Admiral catches the Straw Hats and makes quick work of their efforts to fight them. Kizaru is about to kill Zorro when Rayleigh comes to their aid, saving Zorro and giving the Straw Hats the chance to escape. Kizaru wants to pursue them, but Rayleigh stops him again, offering to fight the Light Admiral. Armed with just a sword, the right hand of the Pirate King is a force to be reckoned with. The bulk of the fights are between the very good and the very bad. The show doesn't blur the lines when it comes to fights. However, on more than one occasion, Luffy has had to fight people he would rather not, and on more than one occasion, those fights are against his own crewmates. One of these conflicts is between Sanji and Luffy during the Whole Cake Island arc. Sanji has been coerced into marrying one of Big Mom's daughters for his family to gain power. During this, Big Mom does all she can to make sure Sanji goes through with it, including threatening to kill Luffy and the others. Determined to keep not only Luffy but his loved ones safe, Sanji has to convince Luffy and the others to forget about him and carry on with the travels. However, Sanji knows Luffy can't be reasoned with or talked down, so he decides the best way to convince Luffy is with an old-fashioned butt-kicking. Luffy naturally doesn't want to. For once, he just wants to talk, but Sanji is having none of it. With one massive blow, Sanji knocks Luffy out, though sadly, it did not knock any sense into him. Luffy vs. Arlong was a classic fight from one of the earliest arcs in One Piece. Arlong was the first real threat that Luffy and the crew had faced up until this point. Sure, they'd faced a few high-ranking marines and a crooked butler, but Arlong was the first villain to have true influence. He and the Arlong pirates ruled over Nami's island and made her steal in order to buy her freedom. Arlong acted as a tyrant and had the power to back it up. It wasn't until Luffy stood up to him that his authority was challenged. This fight is also the first time we as viewers witness the power of fishmen. They are stronger than humans on average and are unbeatable in the water. Luffy only has access to his basic moves now. It would be a long time before he unlocked Gear 2nd or got really creative with his powers. Even with the advantages the Gum Gum Fruit gave Luffy, it just barely made a difference when fighting Arlong. It was the closest fight Luffy had in the early arcs of One Piece. Even with Arlong defeated, his influence would come up again when the Straw Hats would go to Fishman Island. Luffy usually doesn't fight back when he fights a fellow Straw Hat pirate, but this time he actually did. During the CP9 arc, the Going Merry sustained serious damage, to the point where it was no longer a functioning ship. Luffy and the crew had to make the hard decision of getting a new ship, but Usopp was having none of it. He worked on the Going Merry many times. They got it from his childhood friend back home. It reminds him so much of home and his memories. It was a part of the crew, and they had to take her out to pasture. Everyone expected this, except Usopp. Usopp is understandably pissed at losing the Merry, but unlike the rest of them, he does not accept the reality that the ship is no longer functional. So they settle this the only way pirates really do, by fighting. Now, it seems like a pretty one-sided fight, with Luffy being the captain and Usopp being, well, Usopp. However, with all of Luffy's tricks memorized and his style of fighting studied, Usopp knows just what to do to keep Luffy on his toes. And Usopp actually has him on the ropes. But in the end, Luffy had to put Usopp down. Trafalgar Law is an interesting character. Not only does he have an initial D, but he is also one of the new generation of pirates that's slowly rising to prominence. He and the Straw Hats have met on many occasions, but they teamed up in earnest during the Punk Hazard arc. At the time, Law was working with Caesar Clown, and part of the deal was Law gave him his heart with his Devil Fruit power. A regrettable move for sure, as it would lead to Law's enemy having complete control over him. That is exactly what happened when Caesar gave Virgo, the Vice Admiral working for Doflamingo, Law's heart. Law has a checkered past with Doflamingo and his family, and Virgo was just one of the many people he pissed off trying to move against Doflamingo. In their fight, Virgo has Law's heart, and he even states that it would be easy to just squeeze Law's heart and kill him, but that would be too quick and too easy. No, instead Virgo wants Law to suffer. Despite having no Devil Fruit powers, Virgo is a master of armament Haki and strikes with devastating blows, proving to be an even match for the Surgeon of Death. The battle at Marineford and the resulting time skip did a lot for not only our main Straw Hat pirates, but it also shook up the world government and the Marines. Sangoku retired from being the head admiral of the Marines, and as such, Akainu took his place. Aokiji didn't like the idea of Akainu being in charge, and the two fought for days to decide who will be the next leader. Akainu won, and Aokiji left, and that left a vacancy in the admiral rankings. As a result, Issho Fujitora became the newest admiral in the Marines. Fujitora has a dogmatic view on absolute justice and aims to stamp out any and all injustice. Despite this, he is a trusting person until given a reason otherwise. He does this with his incredible sword skills and his Devil Fruit, the Zushi Zushi no Mi fruit, which allows him to control gravity. We see Fujitora in full form in Dressrosa when he fights Zorro. Swordsman to swordsman, the two trade blows, but soon Zorro is crushed under Fujitora's power. Zorro retaliates by striking at Fujitora from below the ground after being crushed. While their fight was brief, the power the two demonstrated showed they would be an even match. I'd like to touch on a subject that is rarely seen in One Piece, which is strong women fighting. Nami is a lot of things to both the Straw Hats and the fans. While she does have a weapon, she rarely uses it in fights, opting instead to stand at the sidelines. despite this, she has an impressive arsenal of attacks, all of which surround her knowledge and control of the weather. Nami could be described more as a caster-type fighter, using the elements of nature to create thunderclouds and mirages to her advantage against her enemies. We see the full range of her abilities with her fight against Khalifa in the Enies lobby arc. Khalifa has the Bubble Fruit power, which has its own array of weird powers. During the fight, Nami is scrubbed of her powers and her ability to fight when Khalifa covers her in soap, but with some quick thinking, Nami is able to wash the soap away and unleash a powerful Thunder Breed Tempo, her strongest attack, where she creates a thundercloud and shocks her opponent with pure lightning. It requires a bit of setup, but it's a devastating attack most couldn't shake off easily. And those were some of the most interesting fights between Devil Fruit users and non-Devil Fruit users. Which one was your favorite? Mine was Law vs. Virgo. Let us know in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe to CBR for more amazing anime content. See you next time.